I wanted to come and talk about the time that my daughter and I stopped going to her therapist because I didn't quite understand what she was doing with us. Um, so my daughter was having like a lot of emotional um to me, I thought she was having emotional issues that I couldn't like help her with. So we had to go see a therapist. And I was looking around, trying to get one through her like um, main pediatrician or whatever. And at our local hospital here, the psych time was a 6 month wait. We did the 6 month wait, or we were going to, and then they called us and said, within 3 months, we actually have an earlier appointment. We set up the appointment. We go, turns out to be a social worker. So not even a psych person, right? So I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, whatever. So I reach out to somebody that I used to be friends with, and their sister is in the field, right? So I ask her if she knows of anybody that because I was like, I was looking around. It was so much work. I want to say this is one of the things that I hate about the healthcare field is that at the time that you're going through whatever you're going through, you need to be about your wits end, and you need to be able to still find the proper help for you, right? And depending on what kind of health insurance you have, a lot of places don't accept you, right? Because they're not technically like hospitals. They don't have to accept everybody. So there are specialty, whatever, whatever. And I was trying to I knew what our issue was, right? I knew what like our issue was. So I was trying to get somebody that could help us automatically with that instead of like going to just a regular person, regular psychologist, therapist, whatever they're called. I sometimes do the in between. I know one prescribes medicine and one doesn't. We went to one that did not. And I was looking for one that didn't because like my daughter is under 13. So I'm not like looking to put her on medications just yet, especially like altering mood medications like that. I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I'm just saying that I don't feel that she needed it, but I did feel that she needed a place where she can go and talk about her emotions and what's going on with her, you know? And she needed a safe place because I was also not in a space where I just knew that I was not in a space where I could be the person to accept a lot of those from her, right? Because I was more worried about being a good mom. I don't know. I was worried about a lot of things and I just was not responding correctly. I was not responding correctly. I could tell it was affecting our relationship, right? And I was overwhelmed. I was going through a lot at that time. I was going through school. I was also working a full time job and I didn't have a vehicle. So I was doing all of this, like spending hours trying to get onto the right bus, get my daughter to school on the bus, make sure that like it was a lot. It was a lot for me. And on top of that, people are being weird left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right, right? So she finally points me to one or whatever, and then I pick, and then we go and see her, and we see her. I want to say up to maybe 6 or 7 times, and these are all consecutive. I'm talking about we had to do all of this within a month. So on top of me doing everything else that I'm doing, her going to school, we had to like weekly see this lady. That's what she wanted, right? We ended up talking about we talked about like what's going on with her and her friends at school and how she's handling it. My daughter is actually very, very, very mature and self-assured. And I think what happens to her a lot is that people get drawn to her and then they don't like the fact that they can't like little sis her. Like if she's the new kid at the school, she can end up having like two or three friends, not right away, but like she'll have people that just are interested in talking to her and being nice to her. So because she understands, like I've tried to explain to her what a real friendship and what a real friendship is, so she understands that, right? And our other issue is also how weird her dad was being, right? At this point, when we went to see the therapist, I had her dad blocked for, I want to say, at least 8 months, right? At least 8 months. So we go, we see her, we do our initial intake. It takes about almost 2 hours, okay? We do our initial intake. I laid everything out as much as I possibly could, right? At some point, and I know this is in the beginning, she insisted on wanting the father of my child's phone number, because she said that she wanted to be able to reach out to him to confirm some of the things that we were saying, like how he's not as involved as he possibly could be. I don't know. She didn't really say. She just said, I would like to get his point of view, side, or whatever, right? I said, okay, here's his phone number. You can call him. That's his name, right? And she would keep insisting to me that I needed to unblock him because the communication needs to happen between mom and dad and not between the child, and not have the child in between. And I was like, she's not in between us. Like, she's not a child. She's old enough at this point where she has a tablet and she uses one of my old phones. And she has like her own thing. So like I can message her, I can call her off of my phone. We have family members. She has family members from his side. And I told her this, the therapist, I was like, she has family members on his side that call and message her on the phone. He's the only one that says that he can't talk to her, right? Because he says the reason that he needs to be able to stay in contact with me is so that he can like talk and figure out when he can like come pick up his daughter or whatever. That would be fine, but we were not talking constantly. I had my kid, like we went from, he had the kid, where he had her one week 3 times, then the next week I had her 4 times, and vice versa. And then that went from, I just had her all the time, right? Which was fine by me, and it was fine by her, because there was a lot of times where she was with him, she would end up calling me to come pick her up. So we talked about all of that, right? And she would just keep insisting that he needed to have a line of communication open with me. And she would look me in the eye and she's like, yeah, I just, you don't want to put your child in the middle of that, And I was like, she's not in the middle of it. I was like, he doesn't even text her. He doesn't call her. Like, he does every once in a while, but like it's not enough. If I was him, if I was in his point, I can't speak to why he doesn't want to parent like I want to parent, right? For example, I said, like, when she would be with him, I would call, I would message her, right? The reason I ended up letting her have a tablet and then one of my old phones is because I used to call him and he would not pick up the phone because he didn't want me to talk to her. I don't, that's what I got. He never said that, but that's what I got, right? It was always like so then it was my text messages were being ignored, or I was in the back. Like, something would always happen where he couldn't pick up my phone. And I was like, that's fine. So then I got her the thing where I could just talk to her, right? So he also has that option. He has the option of just straight up talking to her, doesn't need a middleman, right? Because we're not talking about, oh, he's like trying to arrange taking her on a vacation. Even if he is, I can talk on the tablet and I can talk on her old phone, right? There's multiple ways to do it. But what he can't do is use my phone to try to harass me, because that's what he's been doing. And I had enough. So I put the law down. And you're trying to tell me, as my child's therapist, that I need to stop doing that, right? We saw her about 6 times. There, only one time did my daughter feel comfortable to be in the room with her by herself, and that was my daughter's choice. So my daughter was in a room by herself, I think, twice. The first time the therapist initiated it, she wanted it. The second time my daughter did, and then after that my daughter never wanted to. And then when I was seeing what was happening in the office, I was like, I can do this with her. You're just talking to her. And and all she's letting us know is like, well, she needs to eat well, and she needs to be able to sleep, make sure that tablet time is down, blah blah blah. Like, there was nothing that she was giving us that actually could help us. I mean, I'm not saying that none of those things can help you medically. They can, but none of it. There was nothing that she was giving us that we had not already knew before we came in there, right? So her other thing was that, well, so I finally asked her, right? Because she kept asking me, like, have you unblocked the dad? And then she will keep doing her little, like, mantra about how not keeping my daughter in the middle. And I asked her, I was like, well, have you reached out to him? No. So we've seen you for at least 7 sessions. I've given you the phone number either on our first or second session. You keep telling me in the previous sessions about how important it is for me to reach out, but you haven't reached out to him. And you made it seem like I'm going to reach out to him so that I can confirm what you're saying, because if you're lying about him not actually being a good dad, then we're going to find out. Bitch, go find out. He's a horrible dad. He's a horrible father. I suspect that he might be a narcissist. But I can't tell you that, because I know then you're going to be like, oh my God, she's paranoid. So I didn't tell you that. I don't have to tell you that. But also, he's not your motherfucking client. My daughter is. Why are you acting like I'm the fucking criminal? The other thing that really made it annoying was that we had to go in person to see her every single time. We had to be there on time. And every single time she was like 20 to 45 minutes late. And then she takes up like 25 minutes, whatever. And at the time I was using a medical ride. So then they would be calling me, are you ready to be picked up? Because your appointment is supposed to be an hour. I'm like, I don't know. Finally, we went and saw a person who can prescribe medication, because she's like, well, there's really nothing I can do for you guys besides putting her on medication, right? I don't believe she has ADHD. I don't believe that she has any type of whatever. And I can't diagnose her father. So with having narcissism, and therefore she's dealing with the after effect, because that's what I wanted you to help her with. And I looked you up specifically for that. And yet you have refused to talk about it. You have refused to talk about it. And then you pass the buck to somebody else. It almost makes me feel like she was not intending to help from the beginning. And she was just like entertained by my daughter and I. Because my daughter is entertaining. The way she tells stories is very entertaining, right? But I did not understand. I did not understand. And I did not understand her like creepy infatuation with wanting me to unblock my ex. That she was threatening me that she was going to go and corroborate mine and my daughter's story, because she could not believe that this person that we don't want in our lives could be awful, and somehow we are fabricating all of it. For what? I'm not even sure. I'm not really sure, but that's how I felt. And that's what I don't like about the medical healthcare industry in America, is that you could be at your worst. You could be feeling your worst, and you have to be quick-witted enough to figure out that the person in front of you could also be a fucking predator, and that they are not there to help you out whatsoever. And if they are not equipped enough to help you out with what's going on with you, sometimes they're too egotistical to move you to someone else quicker, because we didn't need to spend fucking 7 to 6 sessions with you if you were just going to pass us off to a psychiatrist who's just going to be like, well, if you want medication, I can give you medication. No, we want to know how to fucking deal and process these emotions. And apparently it's going to bed early, unblocking your ex, and no electronics an hour before bed. I mean, it possibly could. I will say possibly could. We don't want to do the drugs just yet. You know what I mean? Can we talk it out? We're a bunch of talkers. We would love to talk our emotions out in a space where somebody's not judging us, because that would be really nice. To be like, it is wrong. It is wrong for a child's father to be like, I cannot access you on this phone that everybody else, that my mother who doesn't know how to use a phone can call and text you in, but I'm going to pretend that I can't. And the therapist is like, that could be legitimate. This is not the room that we need to be in. This is not the room that we need to be in. You know what I mean? And it's like, you have to, and then now it's like, have I found another therapist? No. It's been a year. It's actually been over, it's been over a year. It's been over a year and I haven't. And I'm a little traumatized. I'm a little traumatized right now. So I've made the interwebs my therapy, where I just come and I will talk about the shit, because it's crazy. It is insane. It is insane. So when you are out there and you're looking for one, do your due diligence. And if you believe that they are behaving weird and odd and they're not on your side, because they should be. They should be. They should not be on your delusions, but they should be on your side. They should most definitely be.